Hi there. Welcome to New Tracks Modeling. New Tracks is an exciting new digital opportunity to obtain mentoring to help you improve your modeling. You will meet talented modelers and manufacturers from all over the world who share their model building skills and artistic advice. Improve your modeling and increase the confidence in your modeling efforts. Share your building efforts with fellow modelers and have some fun doing it. The shows are live on Zoom and YouTube, so be sure to join in and ask your questions. Now here is New Tracks.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really do appreciate it. Hope you come back often. Hope you tell your friends about us. Before I start the show, I'd like to turn to Father Ron Walthers for the show's prayer. Father Walthers.
Creator of the world, as modelers and makers, we recognize the intricacy and the beauty of our world. We thank you for the vision and the artistry you have given us. Continue to bless us with your creative spirit. Amen.
Thank you so much, Father Walthers. We really do appreciate all your help. Well, now I want to talk a little bit about some subjects before we get to the actual show. If you have not gone to our website, newtracksmodeling.com, and subscribe, we ask that you do that. We have roughly 900 subscribers on our website, and we'd like to see that go at least to twice that number. So if you have not subscribed and you enjoy the show, if you do subscribe, then you'll find out all of the things that we've got coming up. Plus, you'll be able to join us live on Zoom each week. And we really would appreciate you considering subscribing to our show. We have a lot of information on our website that I think you'll find interesting. And we're adding more and doing other things with our website all the time. So if you haven't been there for a while, I encourage you to go and check it out again. It's newtracksmodeling.com. First year of our scholarship program, great success. We are so pleased with both the modeler that applied for it and was the winner, as well as the great number of volunteers that helped us do the scholarship the first year, and certainly all of the contributors that donated cash money to give us the capability of having the funds to provide the scholarship and to pay the IRS and the state of Florida and the different organizations the money that they required and the fees they asked for us to be able to get our corporation set up for the scholarship and have the IRS designated as a 501c3. So from now on, all the contributions coming to our scholarship corporation, which is separate totally. It's a separate corporation from New Tracks Modeling because it's the charitable arm of New Tracks Modeling in effect. But it's a total separate corporation, separate board of directors. I happen to be the president of it. Bob Davidson is the vice president. Phil Edholm is secretary. And Kevin McCumber is the treasurer. And Jeff Jordan is our attorney for the corporation. So that's who's on the board. That's who's the officers of that corporation. And like I say, it's totally separate. Part of what we have on our website right now are the different categories for giving that we're trying to implement for this second year of our scholarship. We have an individual giving capability and we have a corporate giving capability. Within the corporate capability, we have certain milestones where companies who contribute and reach those milestones get to be on our website, documented on our website, have their logos there, their company's name, their website, the whole thing, as well as being discussed in each one of the articles that I write. So the categories are $250 contribution from a company will get you the brass qualification. $500 for silver, $750 for gold, and $1,000 for platinum. And these are only for corporations, not individuals. Individuals can contribute like that, but they're not listed on the website with corporations. So the first corporation that qualified for one of our categories is owned by Alan Rogers. You all know Alan. Alan has done a build along on our show. He's helping in the production of our shows in many capabilities. And he's been with us for a long, long time supporting New Tracks Modeling. Well, his company is called New Creations Victorian Railroad Buildings, LLC. And Alan has contributed the $250 minimum to qualify as our first brass corporation that we have for the New Tracks 24-25 Scholarship Fund. So Alan, thank you so very much for your donation. And thank you again for being the first of many, I hope, that want to take advantage of the different categories that we have for the corporate giving. Then in the other categories for individuals. Well, individuals can go to Zephy. We have Zephy set up, both for the individual as far as the corporation. Everybody can go to Zephy, but now I'm just talking about individuals. So the individual can go to Zephy, and it has different levels of giving that are outlined, that you can pick one and make your donation that way. Or if you want to give more than is indicated there, then there's that capability on Zephy too. 100% of everything that you contribute to Zephy goes directly to the scholarship fund. They take no fee whatsoever for this. And the beautiful part for us is they do all of the paperwork for us. They give us the tax information we need to file with the IRS each year. They send out the documentation to each donor for his personal tax deduction on his taxes. They charge us nothing for all of the services that Zephy does. It is the greatest boon to a small nonprofit corporation like New Tracks Mentoring Inc. is that I can imagine, and it's all free for the scholarship fund. So we have a donor who wishes to remain anonymous, who has pledged $1,000 for the first public donors who contribute $80 or less. This is anywhere from $1 to $80. The first $1,000 of the $1,500 that we need to raise in order to comply with the IRS regulations about the number of small donors versus the mega donors, the corporations in effect. This is what we need to raise, and the number of dollar amounts from individuals that we need to raise. Keep in mind, each individual, it's somewhere between $1 and $80, and we need to raise a total of $1,500. Well, we have one anonymous donor who has pledged dollar for dollar to match the first $1,000 of the individual public donations we receive. So if we have 1,000 people giving us $1, those $1 automatically are matched, and it becomes a $2 donation to the scholarship fund with no fees deducted from anything. The whole money goes to the scholarship fund. I hope you'll donate more than $1, but if that's all you got, that's great. No questions asked. I'm fantastic, proud that you'd even consider it if that's what you can do. So the first 1,000, that's what we're concentrating on right now, because that donor stepped up as soon as it was announced that we needed to get these public donations, and agreed to match the first $1,000. Now, If there's somebody out there that would like to step up and match the other $500 to get us to the total goal of $1,500, just give me a call. My name and number is Jim Kello at newtracksmodeling.com. And I'll show you how to work it out and what needs to be done. And then we'll have the whole thing matched for the $1,500. But right now, I need to make absolutely sure that we are able to get the $1,000, because then we get the anonymous donors $1,000 to match it to go to the scholarship fund. And that would take us a long way toward our goal, initial goal at least for this year, for our scholarships. So if you can see your way clear to do it, it's on our website. Zeffie's link is on our website. All you have to do is hit it and make the amount of contribution that you want, and then we're in business. I can't encourage you more to do it. A lot of people have spent an awful lot of time and effort trying to make this as easy as possible for all of us. And at the same time, try to be able to help as many young model railroaders as we can continue their education in either a college, university, or technical institution in a STEAM program, either a science, technology, engineering, art, or math major. So if you can see your way clear to help us, we really would appreciate it and can't thank you enough. I'll be talking about this each week now. I'll be showing the thermometer each week now. In each one of the articles that I write about, you'll be reading about this and seeing the thermometer best I have it at the time that the article has to go to press in the magazine. So you'll be able to see where we are and a number of modelers who have contributed and so forth. We're not trying to get you your name in the papers or anything like that. We're not talking about that. All we're talking about is whatever you contribute, it's just between you and Zeffie. We get the money, 100% of it. Zeffie sends you the tax deductibles documentation that you need for the IRS for your taxes. And that's where we are. And it hasn't cost New Tracks anything to be able to get the money transferred, the money dealt with totally, and the documentation, both for our taxes that we have to submit to IRS and your tax deductible information that you would have to submit to get the credit for your deduction. If you have any questions at all or comments, and a lot of you made comments that I've asked for when I've asked for comments before, please do now. My email is jimkello@newtracksmodeling.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Most importantly, I look forward to your donation. Now I want to talk about a train show that's coming up on October 14 and 15 in Timonium, Maryland, at the Maryland State Fairgrounds at 2200 York Road. And it's October 14th and 15th. That's a Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, it starts at 9 o'clock. It's over at 4 o'clock. Sunday, it starts at 10. It's over at 4. There's all kinds of information and details about what and who and where various vendors are located and so forth. It's on their website. And their website is gsmts.com. GreatScaleModelTrainShow.com. GTMTS.com. The reason that I really hope that everybody pays attention to this train show is because of the person that puts it on, Scott Gear. Scott Gear has been one of the biggest supporters New Tracks has ever had, both from telling all of his vendors and the people that attend his show about us and about our scholarship, by giving us free tables, space, by letting the people in to help man the booths and tables that we have, and just doing everything that he possibly can, including a financial contribution to both New Tracks Modeling and our scholarship fund. So I can't say enough nice things about Scott and what he and his company have done for New Tracks and our scholarship. And because of that, I hope that his upcoming show in Timonium is a huge success, and that everybody that is hearing this or watching this will consider attending it, because I tell you, it's well worth the time. Many people say it's the longest running. It's been running 30 years, if you can believe it. 30 years for a train show is an awful long time. And a lot of people say it's the best in the Mid-Atlantic region. So if you're able to attend it, that's the information that you need for it. More information, again, is on their website. The MyBuild is coming up tonight, and we've got some great modelers that have entered that. The next one is on the 18th of October, and the one after that is the 22nd of November. Chris Corse is the host for these. The one in October is an autumn theme, and Chris will be talking about that more next week. We also have on the 28th of September, a week from tomorrow, our modeling lifestyle show with our guest, Martin Breckbilt, MMR, and 3 of his friends. I've had some people send me emails saying, I got to attend this because I got to hear what his friends say about him. Regardless of why you attend, Martin is just an extremely important figure in the model railroad community and has been for no telling how many years. He's an editor, he's a contributor, he gives clinic, you name it, and Martin Breckbilt has done it for this hobby. So I hope that everybody will be able to tune in and hear about some of his accomplishments and see exactly what his friends do say about him. It's September the 28th. The only way you can watch it live is on our YouTube channel, New Tracks Modeling, and it starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you have the time, please join us live. If you don't and want to see it later, it'll be on video on our New Tracks Modeling YouTube channel. Now, with all of that, I'm going to get a drink of water here and introduce Gary Shurgold, MMR, who's going to show you how he's building a Walthers kit of their company store. So, Mr. Shurgold, welcome.
Very much, Jim. Hey, I don't know why this jumps, but okay, sorry about that, folks. Okay, part 3, we're going to talk about the walls, windows, and doors. Pardon me, windows and doors, and then finishing and assembly. So what we talked about last week was taking your either a razor saw, or what I did, I took a razor saw, cut it up into pieces to fit into my holder there, and made my own little blades that I could use it for delicate work. And what I've done here is these are the porches. This is the back porch, the front porch. And what I'm starting to do is I'm taking this blade and scribing down in the direction of the boards to put grain into this plastic. And you can see here it went down, and this is basically what I'm doing. So I'll go all the way along on each piece and put that grain in there. Now, all the windows and doors, what I do is to make them look realistic. You take your knife, and right around where the joints meet, you have to put little lines in here to make this look like individual pieces. So I do that with the doors, and you see I'm cutting that line in there very gently. It doesn't need to be really deep, but it needs to be prominent so that once you put paint on it, you don't see it. And I did the same thing with the panels. These cross panels here, I went down and put a line on each one of those. Okay, this is the deck, and you can see some of the front porch, back porch. See some of the scribing there and here. See the grain that's been put into the plastic. And same with the windows. You run your blade down in the direction that the wood would go, and you can do it across and then down the sides. And these where you put these little marks. You'll cut across here. So make this board individual and this board individual from each other. And again, with the marks down on the doors. Same with the windows. I cut the board across on each joint here, and on the scribing very lightly on the wood. I wouldn't try to do wood scribing on these, the mullions, because they're fragile and could break. Again, showing you the marks that were put in right here. These cut marks here and here. Okay, same with the ends of the building. There's pieces of wood here. So what you would do, you would take your razor saw or little device, if you did make one like I made with mine. Sorry about, I don't know why that, here we are. And you want to go with where the grain would normally go. So it's going to go along here. You do your little cut mark there and all the way down here. You do that on all sides where the wood would be. Okay, there's the little lines that I put in. Line in here. And same thing with the windows. Here I'm using a straight bladed blade, and I'm just cutting those little lines in. In here, here, there, and there, and there. Same with the doors. Now, after you've done all that, and all your razor saw work is done and everything, what you do is, I put it in a little box. I took it outside, and with a rattle can, I gave it a coating of prime, gray coating. You want to use gray and prime it. It doesn't have to be really thick. Just give it a real good prime on everything. And after that's done, you see what I've done is I've mounted my windows and railings and that on a mounting board that I have, and I'm getting ready to start the painting. So what I did here, I put the building together, made sure it was square, and then you can see this is primed, and you can see the grain. Now, this little area here is a back porch. And what I did was I took my color, what I call my initial color for the building, and I painted just this area here, because this porch is going to come out. This will be hidden, but you will be able to see it through the window of the porch. So I wanted this wall painted. I didn't want to leave it the natural white, or after spraying it would have been gray. I wanted, if people did look in the window, they would see some color. So what I did was just this area, and this is at the back of the building. Now, I took my prime color, and what I did was I started just running my prime color down the whole length and the sides where the joints are, and this, just running that color down there. Now, this doesn't have to be really thick. You don't want to put on a heavy paint because you want a little bit of the primer to show through, but you do want your prime color. And as you'll see, as we work on this, you want this color to show through some too. So you can see what I'm doing. You're just painting all the sides all the way around. In here, you can see a little bit of the grays and the sort of turquoise color that I started off, a bit of a green, and it's not heavy. It's kind of light. Same here, different shades. I've done a little bit of cutting that I had showed you earlier. Marked some boards off. They go a little bit of lifting of the boards. And then I'm adding the paint. Okay, now what we're going to talk about is after you've done that, you've got this all, your initial color started. What you want to do is, there's my initial color, which is sea spray. And then what I did was I went to 3 other colors, which is spun gold, country maple, and tan. And I put them into a little mixing tray. My original color here. So what I'll do is I'll take my brush and start dabbing this in here. Have a little bit of water in one of the trays. And then what I do is I take that initial color and dab it, go back here, maybe like take the brush, a little bit of initial color, put it in the center of your mixing palette, take a little bit of the spun gold, mix it in with it. You don't need a whole lot, just a little bit. And then what I start to do is I take the brush and I start what I call streaking. You take it and you do individual boards, but you're not going to paint them solid. You're going to streak these. You can see just here and there. So you're basically dragging the brush across and just making little streaks. Okay. And then again, here's the mixture I've now mixed in with the spun gold. I've done a little bit of the maple, mixed it in, and you can see I'm starting to do streaking here. Just the odd board, you don't want to take your brush and do a whole board. You just want to do little streaks all the way along. So here's what's happening. You can see that blending the colors, they're going in, and I'm going to work this all the way down the walls on all sides. And there's basically, after working it in, you can see a little bit of browns and tans and whatever. And then here is, I've gone through the process all the way around the building. And here's that one that you don't put anything on here at all, because this is an inside wall. You want this to look pretty pristine. And you do exactly the same thing on all the pieces here. Now, if you're going to do your windows white, you don't do that on. But all the wooden pieces, that these are the foundation boards that go around the building. And these are the back porch walls. So I've done that, and I've done the same thing with the porch floors, but I used a different type of paint, which you'll see later on as I progress through this. Okay, once all that is done, so you got your streaking done here, or your different, you've got your walls finished for the building, which will go on here. You've got your railings done and your flashing that goes around the porches area. Now, you mix a lot of water and a very little bit of black paint. And when I say very little, I mean very little. What you want to do is just take your brush and gently dab it into black paint. Now, this is all latex paint. Just dab it in, and then take your brush and put it into the water till you get a dirty mixture. Now, what you can do is you can take this and check it by put your brush into the mixture, put it on a paper towel, and just check to make sure that when you do, it's not a very dark black. If it is, put more water in and thin it down. Now, don't worry about it being too thin, because what you can do is you can thicken it up with a little more black if it's too thin. So after you've done this, you take your brush, drop it into the black wash, and you go over everything. You do your brush just back and forth, and you're basically covering this. And what this is going to do is it's going to highlight all these lifted boards, all your board lines. It's going to blend everything together. So you're going to do your black wash on everything that you see here from your building. And you can see the black washes on there. And I do the same thing with the windows. Now, these windows are painted antique white. The door's antique white, but all this is the same color as this. And the porches are done totally different color. Okay, you can see I've done these are little pieces for the front porch, which go on the end, which you'll see later. Porches are all done with the black wash. Front porches and back porch have been worked on. And there again is showing you with that black wash. So you only go over this once. Don't keep washing it. Just go over lightly and get that all on. You can see the grain is starting to show through. So it's taking that plastic effect away, and you're getting those that wood grain and that wood looking effect. And there's the back porch put on. This wall's inside. I painted the other walls of this back porch the same colors inside. And you can see I put on the support walls for the porch and the back building. Okay, now what I've done is I've gone back to the decks and I've separately painted them, and I painted them so the gray pattern, and then I went over them with that streaking that I showed you earlier, and then taken the wash and gone over them with the wash to bring the highlights out. Okay, the front of the building, say here again, you can see raised boards, the different shades of color that we talked about, and the wash on, which blends everything in together. These are the antique white doors and windows, and again, black wash. Okay, those little porch roof supports were put on, and I've got to do a little bit of work on here with the streaking. And then what I'm going to do is black wash it and blend this to make it look like this. Porch is on. It was a light color on the porch with streaking, and then it'll be done with a black wash. Same with the sides that support the porch. And this is the back. You can see the raised boards. Once you put that wash on, it really blends everything in nicely. And here's the roof support, which I'm working on to blend in and make this look the same. Okay, there we are there. Everything's starting to come together. See what I mean about the inside of the back room? You look through the window and you'll be able to see this nice bright color. This was the initial color we started with. And here's our effect that you're going to obtain. The windows and the doors have been put in place with our wash over them. And here, another shot. Porch has been put on. Wash has not been done yet. Added the railings, a little bit of the black wash. And part 4, we're going to talk about roof materials and assembly and with sewing stabilizer for the roofing. And I'll talk about that next week. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Gary? Gary, I got one.
Yeah, did you put any kind of water reducer or surfactant in the water when you mixed the black paint in to?
No, all I did was just put water in and just dip my brush into black paint and very, very little. And then I put it into the water and stirred it. And the thing is, you want this wash to be very, very thin. So when you put it on a napkin, you can actually still see white in the napkin. Now, as I'm saying is, if it's too thin, all you have to do is just continue to put the black wash on till you bring
Was the
out
water beating up any on the plastic?
No.
Oh, great.
No, it actually went in very nice. I didn't use any soap or water softener. I just used straight water out of the tap. And as I say, the trick is if you get that wash too black, you're going to ruin the model because you're going to darken everything. So the idea is that wash has to be very, very thin. And if it's too thin, don't worry about it because you just put another coat of it on.
All right, thanks.
You're very welcome.
I think, Gary, what happens is that the primer happens to help it all along.
That's yes. Yeah. The primer helps hold the latexes that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I started off with my base color. That's the color the building would have been prior to weathering. And then when you start your streaking, that is blending. And you don't want to go too heavy with your streaking either. All you want to do is highlight areas here and there. Like you can see where I went, I'm just going to start flipping back here. Okay, so in here, where I started to put this on, this is heavy.
You're not sharing.
Yeah, I'm sorry?
You're not sharing.
I'm sorry. Screen. Am I sharing now? Share?
Yeah,
Okay. What I've done here is this is too thick. So this is still wet. So what I did was I took my brush, little bit of water, and I started to go over this again. And what happened was it started to wash out. So I got this to wash out because if you look ahead of okay, here. So you can see here that brown, there's a little bit of brown. You'll see a little bit of tan, those three colors that I use, the spun gold. So you want to blend that out. You don't want to have this, because if you do this, when you do the wash, all you're doing is changing the color of the building. Here you can see the streakings. Okay, so as I say, I got this on a little too thick. And what I did was I took my brush right away, because when I looked, I didn't like it. And just with water, I just started streaking again till I thinned this right out. And then what it did, it gave me a really nice streaks. So you want different color streaks here and there. You can see the different colors in here. So all this is streaking thinly put on all throughout all the walls around the building. And here again, you can see a little heavier here. You can see the browns in here. And then all it is once you put the black wash on, it just blends everything together and brings out all the highlights. And then the black wash. Okay, sorry about that. Well, you'll have to get me back there. Can't seem to get out of it.
Just get out of your share screen. Stop share screen.
Yeah, I can't even do that.
You should be able to at the top.
There we
There you
go.
go.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah. So in that streaking, you be very gentle with it. And you want to go like on all your sides and just take that along the side. And you can see what I did. I put it on too thick. So I just went over with a wet brush and just blended it all in. Okay, any other questions?
Good job.
thank you so much, Gary. Look forward to seeing part 4 next week.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. It's looking good. And I appreciate you clarifying what the wash meant, because that was my question too. Well, now I'd like to turn to Dennis Brennan. And Dennis is going to talk about something that's really dear and close to my heart, and that involves the art of our models and whether our models really are an art form. And he's going to phrase it from the standpoint of photography and art. So Dennis, thanks so much for doing this and welcome.
Glad to be here, Jim. So let me just get started here. Let's see. How do I get? Just bear with me. How do I get this on the screen here? Oh, I see. Here we go. I think this will do it. Is everybody seeing that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to let that sit there for a second and just take it in. Some of you have seen this already. And there's a lot that's going on here, but where's the art? Is the art in the photography? Is the art in the modeling? Can you have one without the other? Well, some people not everybody is going to shoot stuff like this. I've been shooting photographs for over 50 years. I'm an old film guy. And I have a background in art. I have a degree in art, specifically in photography and filmmaking. And you can't have, I mean, the best photograph of a train layout isn't going to be any better than the modeling that's in it. And so what is it about the modeling that turns it into art? Well, in my opinion is that a good model shot should make the viewer look twice and wonder, is that real? Or is that a model? Now, and what makes it feel real? Well, there's a lot of details that, and I'm not an over detailed guy. I'm really not. There's not tons of detail in here, although it feels like it. But there are things in here that just work together. When you're setting up a scene, assuming that you have good models, okay? When you're setting up a scene, you need to think about where the colors are. You can use colors to help the scene. Now, if you look, you'll notice that on this switcher, I conveniently put a nice orange boxcar, and over here, there's sort of a yellow boxcar. That was no accident. The reason I did that is so that the profile of the engine would stand out. And to balance up that, we also have a red, we have another red. And then we have these earth tone colors in the background. So, and then of course you got the white snow that is uneven. So what makes this photo work is the fact that there is, it really just looks like the photographer happened to be in the right place at the right time. It doesn't look staged. There's not a hero in this. I mean, I guess you could say the engine is a hero, but it's not the same thing as an engine blasting out of a tunnel. So you need to think about composition. You need to think about color. You need to think about textures. You need to think about your background. So all of these things, the only way that you're going to figure this out is to take a lot of photographs. Take photos, take photos, take photos. Now, what I would also suggest is that you look at coffee table books of real photographs, the real thing. If you look at the real thing, are those photos, there's photos of, basically they're just documentations, really. It's somebody who liked going out and photographing railroads, a train buff. Are they art? Well, that just depends. But the difference here is that you can take a photo that's an ordinary shot, a documentary shot, if you will, but then the art is in the scene. The art is in the setting. The setting, think about, not only do you think about texture and color, look at the color, there's different textures in this shot. The colors are very muted. but you think about there's a certain time of day. There's a certain feeling. This is not a bright sunny day here. This is an overcast gray day. So you need to think about that. Here's another shot. Again, I used a fog machine in this shot, and this was a cover, as the other one was a cover shot. This was a cover shot for a Classic Toy Trains magazine. This is a hero. This engine is a hero, and on the cover, they made it even tighter. But this is what I would call a hero shot. And again, there's only one real color in this thing, if you don't count black. But look, I have a nice sort of a yellow, muted yellow tank car behind the switcher. And then you've got the monochromatic, the rest of it is very monochromatic. That was not an accident. Now here's a whole different feeling. Now this was actually taken from a photograph that I saw in a book called New York Harbor Railroads. And it has a scene very similar to this. The scene, basically the concept was looking down the street, and the engine, a little tank engine, was crossing the street. Well, that's what we have here. And what is, why does this work? Well, there's lots of little details. And again, the palette of colors that I used are all similar. I mean, it's a similar color range. It's earth tones. And then we have a little color pop of color here with the boxcar, and another little pop of color with this red fire hydrant, and then a final pop of color with the curtains in the windows. Everything else is earth tones. Then you have a little bit of gravel here. That's a really neat little detail that most people don't even think about. Most modelers don't use it. And what else do you see? We see a sewer grate. And we also see that there was cobblestones here at one time that are starting to break through the macadam. Here's the same area of the layout, but a whole different feeling.
And Dennis, I hate to interrupt you, but we're going to have to continue this in the show next week.
Okay. All right. So I will wrap this up just by saying, think about atmosphere. Think about your lighting. Think about your composition, and take photos. Just keep taking photos until you get something that feels right. That's how I do it. So that's it. Next week, we'll talk more about this. And if anybody has any questions, just let me know.
Dennis, thank you so very much. Anybody have any questions for Dennis? Well, Dennis, we'll talk about it next week and see the questions then.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. I thought you did a great job.
Thank you.
Well, now I want to turn to Chris Course for our MyBuild segment of our show. This is really a popular segment, and Chris, I can't thank you enough for doing it. We have a sponsor for this, and before we start with Chris and the modelers tonight, I'd like to run that short video, Phil.
Welcome to the world of scale, O and S railroading. We are your resource for all O and S scale modeling. Both our magazines are advertiser supported and free to read online, download as a PDF, or even print. All advertisers are hot linked to their website, so if you see something you like, just click. Please check out our websites for the current issues. All back issues available free for the O-Scale Resource and the S-Scale Resource magazines. And, if you are a manufacturer, distributor, or retail establishment, please contact us through our website for advertising opportunities.
And Chris, before I turn it over to you, I do want everybody to know, we just got a notice from Zephy, and we are getting donations, small donations like we asked for a little bit earlier. So thank you so much for the people that have done this. And for the rest of you, don't forget, anything between $1 and $80, we sure do need the help on this. Thank you so much. Chris, it's up to you.
All right, thanks, Jim. Head on over to the MyBuild. All right, tonight's MyBuild is featuring you. There's no specific topic on it tonight, but there will be a topic next month. So we'll get to that at the end. All right, I'm your host, Chris Course, and we're going to start out with Martin Breckbill. You up, Martin?
Up and down.
All righty. All right, let's looks like you've got 12 slides tonight.
That many? You didn't condense it. Okay.
Yeah, I just put them all, I just copied them directly from your PowerPoint right on in.
Oh God, that's terrible. Okay, go ahead. Oh, I sent you those, really? Okay.
Yep.
Scratch built logging cars. This is what you do. Well, these are just the end platforms that Walthers used to make. I guess Scale City Designs makes now are white metal end castings. And I just milled off the parts. Well, these are actually designed for hopper cars and tank cars, the end castings. Well, you mill off parts that don't belong, like the cradles for the tank cars, and mill out underneath for KDs, since the Walthers parts don't really accept them. Piece of brass tubing in between, and some JB Weld holds it all together. Some a few detail parts after that, and you're pretty much done. It's some painting, but these are a fairly economical and easy way to grind out logging cars. Cheap and easy and fast, and you can make them any length you want depending on your piece of tubing in the middle. So this is one of those quick and easy things I thought I was going to do, and went and did it. And now I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but they're over here in a box somewhere. Yeah, putting on the brake piece is a little tricky, but not too hard. You just solder on an extra little piece of brass here and there, and you can mount the K brake and all the little pieces. So it all solders up fairly decently underneath until you stop using brass, and then it's ACC and goo and more epoxy if you so choose. Okay, you're going to tell me there's 10 more, I'm in trouble. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it looks like I think they're all most of them are of this car, if not all of them.
Okay. This is a car I started about 5 years ago, maybe 6, and it sat on the one end bench space for about 5 years. I got to a point and I don't know, stalled out, got bored with it, got tired of looking at it, and decided, well, we'll just let that get covered up with dust until someday and I feel like I should actually get around to doing something. And then somehow I got motivated. Somebody came downstairs and gave me a good swift kick and said, why don't you clean off that end of your bench? It's probably more likely. So I decided to grind it out. This was the second blacksmith car that I've built. And I guess what motivated me or dismotivated me from completing it was the fact that I knew how much pain it would be to finish it. The car itself is not too complicated. It's just a bunch of strip wood and some some of that red cedar strip wood I got from Kapler a long time ago. It's actually rather nice and rough cut. Makes for nice surfaces. The tank on the end here, I just brass wrapped around a wood form and soldered up together. Had to have a light. I'm not sure where that even came from. A lot of this stuff, I don't know where it really came from. It's just stuff that I had in a box somewhere, and I thought, well, we'll just throw this on here. It looks like it belongs there. Why don't you hit the next slide or two? We'll just walk around it. Oh, the other direction. Yeah, there's that tank again. So that hose or fake hose is actually candle wick. So it makes actually a nice braided, canvas type hose with a little bit of persuasion. You can get it to coil up and stay like that. Persuasion being judicious amounts of glue of various types. Keep on forging on. Yeah, just another view of the same size, but you can begin to see what's underneath inside the blacksmith. There's actually a blacksmith in there. He's got a nice red piece of heated up metal. Good figure. I've forgotten where that figure came from. It might have been Aardvark Arts. A lot of the parts in there, you can just go to the next slide or two. Yeah, well, different angle. Well, a lot of the parts that are in there came from Wiseman Model Services. Some of it's Detail Associates tool parts, but you can just keep going, zip around the rest of the car. Yeah, not the best views. I gotta get a better camera someday or more time with the one I have. Just keep going for now. Yeah, you can see there's a tool workbench in the back. Lots of tools, and lots of tools. Lantern hanging on a hook on the inside. The most problematic challenge to building this thing was painting all the detail parts. The second part was putting them where they are, because once the car is assembled, reaching through there takes all kinds of machinations with funky little shaped tweezers of all different types, reaching around things, which don't want to let go of the tweezers because you've got too much glue on them. So you end up gluing the parts to the tweezers instead of to the car. Eventually you persuade things to come loose and sit on the car. Just keep going. There you go. There's the forge around that side. We got a chimney on top, which has seen better days. Keep on going there. Maybe one more. Yeah, and you can see all the tongs and hanging on the cross strut that's holding the car together. There's all kinds of little things in this car that I can't get all the photographs together to show you what's in it.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of detail you can put in a very small area.
Yeah, and those are odd trucks too. I think those are the old Keystone Model Works trucks for logging cars. Those aren't arch bars. So they actually are pretty heavy weighted trucks, and they keep this car from being top heavy. Is there anything else?
Yep.
Oh, more of the same side. Okay, so yeah, I had the figure and the anvil and all these other parts. So just a matter of marrying all the parts together and planting them in reasonable places. And I hope that's the last slide.
No, it looks like you've got
one.
at least a few more. The last one will have an L in the bottom left corner.
Oh, you've got them coded now.
Oh, I've been doing that for well over a year, and nobody's caught on yet.
I haven't. Well, now your secrets are out now. Coils of barbed wire up on the cross member there, and all kinds of stuff with hooks and pieces and parts, and there's everything on here. I can't see it well for sure to say that it's not there. I thought there was a dog there too, but I guess maybe he's fallen off. All kinds of other stuff in there. It's an odd framing technique too on the rafters where everything's kind of mortised. Actually, mortised things together.
I'm gonna say that's quite a unique setup right there. Looking at the roof.
Yeah, it's all mortised together, and Those rods that hold it together are drilled through the entire car, threaded through. I think it's like 28 or 32 thousandths wire.
Hmm.
And they are kind of structural because otherwise it gets a little wobbly. You actually do hold it together to some extent.
Huh.
Yeah, it's based on framing techniques or things I've run across over the years up in the middle of the woods finding an old house. Which something I was doing yesterday. So one more slide, I hope, with an L on it.
There's the last one.
There it is, the little red L in the corner. There you go. Nicely out of focus here on this end, but I'm a little out of focus tonight too, so it's okay. Okay, so I think that's enough out of me. We should go see somebody else now.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Martin
Oh,
before we
yeah.
move
Yes,
on?
I do. Before you go away, Martin, and I'm glad you ended on this slide, Chris. That chain right there that's a little out of focus, but in an earlier one was in focus, looks like a double link chain. I don't suppose you by any chance happen to know where you got that, do you?
I have no idea.
You got it from Al Judy.
Well, I don't know that. Probably possible, but
I'll just come over and root through your junk boxes sometime.
actually, I have a whole back section of my precision scale storage bin parts bin is there's a whole section just of various types of chain.
Yeah, well, I like that chain. It's very unusual to not see it like on an anchor or something.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I'll lose it here.
And Chris, not everyone has failed to notice your code.
Okay, well,
Okay.
no, if I don't have my reading glasses on, I can't see it probably. Okay, enough is enough of me.
All righty. Any more questions for Martin?
Don't be shy.
This is O scale, correct?
Yes, sir.
You can never have enough of Martin.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. My wife might
What was-
differ with you.
All right, how
I always
about the
look forward
roof?
to-
Yes, sir.
All right, how about the roof?
I don't even remember what it is. Could we go back to the top of back up like
Looks
6
like tissue or,
Oh, that's okay. There's planks underneath of it, but that's just probably napkin. Probably Panera napkin.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
My usual Panera napkin.
Panera napkin.
Yeah.
paper napkin, okay.
Yeah, and it's probably, but it's single ply, probably glued down and then painted dark gray.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a terrible fire hazard, but isn't everything.
All righty. Any more questions for Martin? All right. Well, thank you, Martin. I always look forward to seeing your slides every month. All right. So we will move on. Next up, we have Ed Cady. Haven't seen you in quite a while. Ed, how you been?
It's been so long, I forgot to unmute.
Looks like you've got 4 slides tonight.
Yes.
All right. Because I think I doubled up on some of them. Well, on
Gotcha.
all.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, I would have to say long-term viewers might recognize the Hunter Line covered bridge that I've done. What I've done here is actually you can see where that one piece of moss in front of the locomotive is. That's where the original diorama was, and I've expanded it so it actually takes up a 1x2 piece of wood and all that. It's not quite finished because, as you can see, it's missing ballast. But I also have a slight question also on how to finish the little pond that's sort of like behind the locomotive. And then, of course, after I get everything all finished and all that, then I'll turn around and give a final showing of this bridge. It's actually also HOW6. It's actually 6-foot broad gauge. The locomotive is standard gauge and it's on the bridge rails, which are actually set up as standard gauge. I'm still in the process of making 6-foot gauge equipment. I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm practicing on these dioramas to doing at least straight track work at this point. Let's see what's on the next
Right.
slide.
Actually, if you wanted to talk about your pond that you're trying to figure out how to do.
I think the next one I think might be slightly better. Yeah,
Alright.
close. But as you can see in the lower one there, it's like basically I've painted the bottom, but haven't figured out how to put the like water in it, because the river was done using I think it's Mark of Sweden. He did a thing using a matte medium and tissue paper, which is fine for which is very fine for a running stream and all that, or where there's moving water, but the pond is not, sort of not as moving, not as rushing water as what the creek is.
Yeah, it looks like Clark piped in on the chat and he said, for the water, use deep pour water from Woodland Scenics.
All right.
I
Well,
know
it's not that deep, but
yeah, but
Like,
I ran it, or I've been using realistic water. I actually think I inherited it from somebody. I don't think I've ever bought a bottle of it, and it's still in the original bottle. But the thing I've noticed with it is if you have an angle to it over a long period of time, or if you put something on it, you'll end up with marks in it. So maybe I noticed you've got some Mod Podge in there. I wonder if somebody can chime in and tell us if they've used Mod Podge for that. That might be a little better suited for what you're looking to do.
yeah, I think I mean, sure, Mod Podge is very thick, so that's why I assume that it wouldn't work, but
it will work. Sorry, it's Clark. It will work. It depends on how deep you want the sort of the effect to be. The other thing is, what is it sitting on? Is that a piece of foam?
No, that is it's a little hard to describe because I actually got it from work. I work at a place that makes mattresses, and we get, and the thing is that the fabric that we get in it has actually, hold on one second.
Okay, real simple. Is it? There's no. It's more of a material than a say piece of wood.
Yeah, it's. I'm not sure if you can unshare the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason is you can't, a lot of resins you can. Oh, okay. I know this stuff.
Yeah.
I would not.
Just cardboard.
Yeah. I would stay away from any resins. I go to a water soluble something with that.
Gotcha.
Mod Podge would probably work for you.
All right. So I guess we'll go that direction then.
Another good material is the golden acrylic gloss medium.
And you can see my first bridge. You can see my first.
That's another water-based one, isn't it?
There it is. Okay.
Considering where that material came from, I guess you could call your ties sleepers.
Yes.
Really, bud?
Well, what can I say? It's a really cushy job.
All right. Okay. So I think we've, Ed, I think you've got your answer there. It sounds like Mod Podge is the way to go for you.
Yeah, I guess I'll go that direction.
All right. Yeah, and you've got some, so no more money to spend
to
on
add
some things, on some water.
You
All
can
right,
look up
next
Dave
up.
Ferrari. He has a good tutorial on YouTube on using Mod Podge for water.
Who's this?
Dave Ferrari.
Dave Ferrari. All right. Sounds familiar.
Yep.
All right. Did my screen share pop back up for everybody? No.
It did, and
No,
then
looks like it.
went back down. And it was.
Okay, there we go.
There you go. All right. There we
Okay.
go.
All right. Now it's back. All right, cool.
Now this is sort of the other end of the module. Right where you see in the middle of the stream there, you see a small little extra tree that sort of quote unquote fell in. That's sort of the border between I actually made it twice as wide. And that's where I'm trying to hide where the transition is between the two between the two sections, mainly because I couldn't get it to look, I couldn't match them very well and all that. So that's why I went that direction. And
Necessity is the mother of invention.
absolutely. Well, I have I've also watched been keeping an eye on the streams around here and all that, and realized that I didn't do it seems that the streams are multi-layered. So instead of having the valley all with rocks and all that, there's actually a sub valley that's where you have extra like a smaller river valley of it going through there. And I guess the more water it is, the more it covers over. But
yeah, I think I know from up your way. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It looks like the creek beds or whatever have 3 different lives, and it all depends on the level of where they're living, whether it's kind of drought or whether it's an average rainfall, or like you guys have had with all the extra, it's up high.
Yes. But
there has been a recommendation off YouTube, if you're interested. They suggest using a piece of clear styrene cut to the exact size you want. And put it on there.
Yeah,
that would also work. That's also a possibility.
And you can add your Mod Podge on top.
Yeah. That would actually probably even combine everything.
Yeah, because that would even because it won't seep in, then it'll be a little better product, I guess.
It's safer from the material you're using underneath.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, basically I did put Woodland Scenics plaster cloth on top of it, but that's also not fully probably sealed either. So
no.
Yeah, because that's the problem with the Woodland Scenics is that that stuff it just looks for an excuse to seep on through the bottom.
Exactly.
Yep. And I think there's one more set.
Yep, sure is. There we go.
Yep, and that shows on the top picture you can barely see where I got the bridge rails that the locomotive is sitting on. Interesting thing is the locomotive, from what I understand, is actually 00 scale. So it actually winds up being very close to, I guess, what the prototype would be, I guess. And that's one of the things is that with the Hunter Line kits, I think it was with the uncovered bridge, basically. That is actually it actually says that the NMRA actual prototype scale of the bridge is actually the narrow gauge bridge. The standard gauge bridge is actually wider to fit the NMRA clearances.
Oh, cool.
So it actually winds up being, because when I was thinking about doing 6-foot gauge, I was trying to, it's like thinking of how to, do that. And then when I saw that, I'm like, I could just use the regular NMRA bridge because the clearances are already built in. Because with the model trains, they're designed for one, longer cars and also shorter radiuses. So it makes sense that they're wider than the prototype would be.
Cool.
And yep, and I believe that's it. And thank you for the help.
Well, thanks for sharing, Ed. Are there any questions for Ed before we move on? All right, we will move on now.
Yeah, I would. Just one thing is, I didn't take a picture, but when I redid this, I actually took the bridge off because I wanted to design the bridge so it could be removable. So if I do get a layout that's large enough where I can actually have the bridge, I could. And the roof does come off on it because of that.
Oh, nice. Alrighty. Any questions for Ed? Okay, well, thank you very much, Ed. Glad to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. We'll now move on to Jeff Jordan. Yep, Jeff.
I'm here.
All righty. It looks like you've got 4 slides tonight.
Okay.
All right.
See which one you got first.
Pretty good.
Okay, here we go. I've been working on Vance Junction. And so there's the prototype that I started from, and photograph is where the section house stands right now. And the depot, the old passenger car, served as a depot. The section house is the Banta kit, which is a fantastic kit. And then the depot is actually a much modified Bachmann passenger car. I was given a damaged passenger car as a gift and turned it into the depot by just like the prototype, covering up most of the windows down the side there, scratch building the platform, painting it with the Rio Grande Southern colors, and the Goose is a terrific precision scale model. And I'm just about to start the scenery in this section. You can't tell from the black and white prototype photo, but from the few color photos that are available, it was ballasted with a kind of mixed cinder effect. So most of the cinder ballast I'm finding is too jet black and too uniform. So I'm trying to figure out what I can do. I may have to blend more than one brand or type of ballast to get a more mixed, but this should all be cinder, and that will start going down fairly soon.
Alrighty.
Next slide. Oh, okay, that's just a little close-up of the section house, the crew member and the Goose.
Right. That's a precision scale.
It is. And just behind the crew member, if you're familiar with the prototype photographs, they all have that theater type bench out front. And so I ended up having to scratch build the theater type bench by finding some model bench ends and then stringing them together. So there's actually so there's an armrest between each seat. And so it's a little soft metal casting of the ends. And then the horizontal boards are little strips of evergreen styrene. And that was a tedious little job to put together.
Yeah.
But it had to have that bench. It's in every picture.
All righty.
Okay. Oh, here we go. This is the coal pocket advanced junction. The prototype photograph was taken very near the end of the operation of the railroad, where things were in especially rough shape. And then there's my model of it. This is what was until very recently a long out of production kit by Crystal River. They just reintroduced it at the narrow gauge convention this year. But mine, after years of searching, was a new old stock copy of the kit. It's an amazing kit, hundreds of laser cut pieces of wood. And then I put this together in a manner I've never done before, because everything of every piece is on display. Indeed, if you go around the other side, you could see in the pockets, the roof comes off to display all the elaborate woodwork inside as well. So almost every stick is visible. And so I ended up staining every stick with Hunterline stains, which really brought out the texture and grain of the wood really nicely. I'm really happy how that wood looks. And then, as you can see in the photograph, the siding and the external part of the chutes were painted a boxcar red, heavily weathered in the photograph. I trying to go a little bit earlier in time, so not quite as heavily weathered, but that was stain the wood with Hunterline stains and then paint it with a very thinned boxcar red, so that you can see the variation showing through. You can see the stained wood showing through underneath. I'm really happy with the finished effect. And then you can see down near them, behind the tender there, that one chute is down and the interior gate is showing, and they were not painted. So just like in the prototype picture, it's weathered wood, but a terrific structure, huge model. I was glad I could just fit it in. As you can see, it's literally up against the backdrop, but a fantastic model and fantastic challenge to assemble, because every bit of your work is on display. Every joint, every bit of the assembly. There's no place to hide. And there you can see in that color photo, that's the ballast effect I'm trying to get to, which is not jet black, because this was a pretty impoverished railroad. And so they were obviously using the cinders from the locomotives to ballast the rails. And so I'm looking for a mixture of ballast material to get the ballast down.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
I have a suggestion, it's Pat here. You could probably add a little dirt to the original ballast of cinder that you have. It'll lighten it up enough.
Okay. Yeah. Because the stuff I've got is just too jet black.
Yeah.
It looks like coal.
Add a little dirt to it.
Okay.
I've
give
only
that a
been to their
try.
website, but have you tried some of that Arizona rock?
I have been looking at their webpage. They do offer different blends of ballast. It's kind of hard to tell from the webpage what the finished stuff is going to look like. And pretty much, if you want their stuff, you got to order it from them. So I may take a shot at a bag or two of their ballast, because I have some of their other stuff for the out on the line where it's not cinders and that it's some more local rock. I'm using some of their Cumbres and Toltec. It's a reddish brownish rock, and I really like that. And it is real rock. Whereas the woodlands,
Problem is they're about 6 months on delivery right now.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Holy mackerel. Wow.
You had any trouble with the Hunterline stains shrinking the wood?
No, none at all. It dries exceptionally quickly because of the alcohol base. The one thing I did do is on the thinner stuff, I made sure to stain both sides, even if it wouldn't show, again, to prevent warping. Now, as you can see, the base pieces there are actually 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, so they're pretty hefty. But for example, the steps on the stairs there, the siding and so forth is just stained on all sides, and it did not warp. And my next step would be, I'm about to start cutting styrofoam to fill in the real estate behind there. There's the structure without
Are
the
you
locomotive in the way.
Are you saying you didn't pre-stain the wood?
I did, absolutely, every stick.
Oh, okay. The way it mentioned there, it sounded like because you said why I didn't do the back. So I don't know how you.
Yeah, no, I did. Every piece of wood in this kit was pre-stained before it was assembled. And for example, you can see the side of the structure is a fairly thin piece of wood, and that was pre-stained. I pre-stained both sides of it with the Hunterline stain.
So you don't. Okay. Yeah, I firmly believe you stain the whole piece when you do it because.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any piece, no matter if it's little piece, big piece.
Yep. Every stick, every sheet. Generally what I did is it comes in laser cut sheets. And if I knew that the whole sheet was going to be stained one way, before I even cut them out, I would use that as a carrier and just stain both sides, let it dry, then cut them out. And then if I needed to, come back and hit the edges. But yeah, as you can see underneath really well in this photo, the counterweights for the chutes, the retaining wall in the back, the braces, you can see every stick of wood in this structure.
All righty. Are there any more questions for Jeff? Actually, I have one. Jeff, you coming to Timonium?
I don't know yet. I've got a really busy schedule in October.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for sharing, Jeff. And this is quite a build. I would like to see some interior shots. I mean, when I put the slideshow together, I didn't realize all of what you had in this. This is quite a model.
Yeah, it's an amazing model kit. It's a Crystal River kit. Kind of rare for me. The kit is built straight out of the box. I did not modify it because they rigorously followed the prototype. If you look on the inside, each of those bins are built up with separate sideboards, and they literally figured out that some of them had 6 sideboards and some of them had 8 sideboards, and they replicated that from bin to bin.
Wow.
So they had obviously done, I think they went and looked at the prototype structure still exists today. It's been partially restored, but part of it is the original. And I think they went out and measured it and counted the boards and everything. And just barely visible on the left there is the retaining wall. And that retaining wall also is board by board, length by length, identical to the prototype. So I built this guy straight out of the box, and that the only challenge was to give it a finish that really did justice to the quality of the kit. And if anybody who's interested in it, this is now available again from Crystal River. I checked today, it's on their webpage and they're ready to ship.
Wow, cool.
Great kit.
And this is O scale, right?
This is O scale, but they do HO and S as well.
Okay, cool. I'll have to check them out. All right, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Mitch Lovelace. He's probably not here because he usually works on at night. Mitch, are you up?
No, he's not here.
Okay. All right. So Mitch has been sending us pictures of a city scene that he's been working on, and he's done some pretty remarkable stuff. This is all, believe it or not, N scale. So it's hard to believe that it's N scale. So let's see how many slides. 6 of them. Okay, so here you've got the billboard that he put in. I mean, that looks fantastic the way that's set up there. And then he took a picture and he inserted it into a store scene down there and did some backlighting with it. So that came out pretty nice. And then he's done some work on some storefronts, and he's been working on some windows, putting writing on windows. Moving on a little bit, he's been adding some trees in. So he's got some trees in there now. And that's an overview of how it looks, or looked at when he sent us the photos. But he's managed to pack quite a lot into this little tiny area. So I think Mitch has really come a long way on this little scene. All right, and then that just seemed like the perfect final shot. Does anybody have any questions or things they want to bring up regarding this?
That's really nice work on the roof.
Yeah, we can go back to the roof real quick here, right there. Yeah, we showed the detail photo, a single detail photo of the top of the roof, or an overview of the roof last month, and it looks like he's done a little bit more detail work on it.
That's a fantastic job for N scale.
Oh yeah, he told me it was N scale, but wow. I think most of the building fronts are, if not all of them, are DPMs. So, Mitch, I know you're listening to us, so great job, keep it up, and we hope to hear more from you, see more from you in the future here. All right, Ed O'Rourke, you up, Ed?
Yes.
All right, looks like you've got 2 slides.
Okay, so this is a plan for a warehouse that I built for my friend Jim Height. Jim has a Tuesday night group that's gotten together for 25 years to build his layout. And this was sitting for the longest time. It's drawn by a gentleman named Don Andrews, who was former superintendent of the Central New York Division, passed away 10 years ago now. I don't think he had a layout, but he loved to draw up plans for them. So he had this plan. It just shows the 2 elevations. And Jim said, good, build it. So I did some fiddling around to see how I could make it work a little better. I decided that for an actual, because I made it a factory, not a warehouse. For a factory, it would need more windows. So I doubled the number of windows on the side of it. Jim was paying for them, so that was all right. So that's the plan. I think the next picture must be.
Yep, so what you came up with.
Yeah, so this is what we ended up with. It's all scratch built. It's scribe siding that I had to piece together because they don't make anything that long. There's a joint somewhere in there, I don't remember. And the same with the height. Actually, the awning over the dock and the sign are sort of high camouflaging the joint between the pieces there. The windows are all from Tichy. Jim wanted them to tilt in. We liked those, so that's what we did. And as I say, everything's scratch built. It's that back corner on the left side sits right against the backdrop, and the right side, which you can't see, is actually shortened because of the way the track comes in against the backdrop. There wasn't room for a full structure. The back of it isn't finished. And what else can I tell you? The roof is from a company called Paper Creek. They made all kinds of shingles and roofing material and things like that. They didn't stay in business very long because, unfortunately, anybody with a copy machine only had to buy 1 set of their stuff, and then you could mass produce it. But that's rusted sheet metal roof, corrugated roof. And the story, it's not finished. Jim Height unfortunately passed away in June. So we're in the, probably just had a last run on the layout, and we're going to be in the process of tearing it down. And I think I'm going to take this. I don't know what I'll do with it. So it was never completely installed on the layout before Jim got too sick to do anything about it. But it was fun to build. What else was there? There was something else.
It looks like you've got lighting in there. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's lighting inside. The interior is just photo backdrop that I put in it of the interior of a warehouse, because it's back from the edge of the layout a bit, so you weren't really going to see if there was a real interior in it. The roof doesn't come off. And as you can see, I modified it because we wanted a dock on this end of it. The other end has a stream, so that's just a plain bend there. And before Jim got too sick to do anything about it, we were arguing about whether it was water powered or whether it was would be coal powered, and we never quite came to any resolution. It would have been fun to try and figure out a way to add a mill wheel and everything to the mill race and everything to the other side of it, but that's never going to happen, unfortunately. Oh yeah, and so the backstory is Old Man Batchelder. It's in kind of rough shape, and the reason is because Old Man Batchelder's son-in-law is down in North Carolina. This is July 4th weekend of 1948 is what Jim models in the Adirondacks of New York. And Old Man Batchelder's son-in-law is down in North Carolina as we speak, negotiating for a factory down there. And he's going to close the factory and throw all the guys that work there out of work pretty soon, which is why he hasn't kept the building up too well. So that's it. Unless somebody has questions. This is Jim's layout is imagined. It's called the Ogdensburg and Norwood, which was actually a short line that his family owned on the remnants of the Rutland and the O&W. And it runs through what are real towns in the Adirondacks, but in no way would a railroad have existed there. It's all imagined. This is in Potsdam, New York, which is on the layouts about looks something like maybe Milwaukee or so, but Potsdam has about 150 people living there most of the time when the college kids aren't up there. But it was fun. Anyway, it was fun to build, certainly.
You do the
Any
signage.
questions? Pardon?
How did you do the signage?
That was done on a computer. I figured out a font that I liked that looked old enough to have been like that, and just did it out on a computer. Had to be done in sections, and just pasted it on some I think it's actually mat board, and painted the edges around it, framed it out with some strip wood, and painted the edges, and then applied the sign and weathered it.
Very cool.
Jim was really a great guy. I served with him I knew Jim quite well, actually. And he was an excellent guy. Jim and I served on the board, the NMRA board together. And then,
he was the founder of the Central New York Division, and was the region president for a while up here. And I'm in full disclosure, I'm the region president now, and he was a big help to me when I was first getting going with that. So we did get it. We have been able to run some track in there, built a switch to run into it. But
and his layout was it Model Railroader? I think so.
Yeah, it was in Model Railroader. I might have been in Model Craftsman once too, but in Model Railroader in fairly recent memory. Yeah,
yes.
Like the mid-teens sometime. It was in Model Railroader.
I thought it was even.
We have, if you want to see. We do a thing up in the northeastern region that we call NERX, which is a takeoff from the NMRAX, the online thing. We do an online thing every spring. And last spring, we had a layout tour of Jim's layout there. So you want to see it. It's nerx.org. I'll put that in the chat if you want to look for it. And he was last fall, he was able to narrate the thing and walk around and show everybody what it was, but he had ALS, and by June he was dead. You know, it was sad to see him go so fast.
Yep, very sad.
This is HO scale?
This is HO scale.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, thanks for sharing. This is quite a building, and sounds like it's quite a tribute also.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, thank you, Ed. And unless there's any more questions, we'll move on. All right. Travis Summit. You up, Travis?
Yeah, I'm here, Chris.
All right. Looks like you've got 7 slides. And I'll throw that warning out there now. When I went through these slides, I was like, oh, wow. So prepare to be wowed.
So this was a kit that was put out by I'm sure some of you guys know Craig Rusty. He does keepitRusty.com. He put out a kit around Christmas time last year. HO scale. A lot of fun. Everything detail wise, and the brick wall back there is all 3D printed. There was no white metal or anything like that. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, that is some kid.
Yeah.
My God. Is he making any other scale but HO?
Not to my knowledge. He was talking about putting out another kit. He only made, I think he wound up making 130 or so. And then he was talking about putting one out every year, but I haven't seen anything come across regarding this one. He was in the States and then he moved over to England. So this actually shipped from England. And then I think he was moving again. So I don't know if he's able to put another one out this year.
Yeah, I did see that there's a teaser on his website, because I wasn't sure whose this was exactly, and I looked it up, and yeah, so there is a teaser for a kit coming out, probably, it looks like maybe the end of the year, if that's what he does. But I think it looked like he did put out some stuff in other scales, but I didn't pay too close attention to it.
Yeah.
But this stuff is fantastic. I mean, you got to have a great kit to start out with, and then to do what you did with it is, it just takes it over the top.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a lot of, I'm relatively new to the hobby. I don't have a layout, so I'm just been building dioramas. And then the plan is, when I do get the space, to kind of pop them in. So it was fun to try some new stuff. It was the first time I used an airbrush. That little blue-gray barn is airbrushed, and then I took an X-Acto knife and kind of flaked the paint off. And then all the wood that you see there was stained with oils, which was the first time that I had ever tried that too. So gives it a nice kind of old effect that you sometimes don't get with the Hunter line or the alcohol and India ink.
Yeah.
How large a diorama does that come out to be?
I believe it wound up being something like 25 by 12 or 13, with 25 wide by 13 deep.
It's really something. Really something.
Got your boiler there.
And then all the figures, again, I'm sure some of you guys will be familiar with Model U. They're out of the UK as well.
Yep.
So they were done just for the kit. They come 3D printed and unpainted. And then you get your little brushes and go in there, and hopefully don't get too close up on some of them, because at HO scale, they're a little small. Some of those hands and boots and stuff like that.
Fantastic. Really like the brickwork on that building there on the left.
Yeah, like I said, it was 3D printed, and it painted really well. And one of the nice things about the 3D prints is that if it, unlike hydrocal, if you really don't like a spot, you can just wipe it off and start again. So very forgiving.
Yeah.
What do you use for ground cover?
It's all dirt. Is from Scenic Express, and I've been trying to figure out a way to make my own, since it gets a little pricey if you use a lot of it. And then everything else is either Woodland Scenics, and then there's some Martin Wahlberg Studios. Scenic Express sells them. I think he's out of Europe somewhere for some of the bushes and things like that.
Yeah, with dirt, one of the tricks I learned early on. Well, first of all, you can use your own out of your backyard or wherever. But what you should, from what I've read, what you really need to do is basically put it on like a cookie sheet or something when the wife's not home. Put it in the oven at 250 for about half an hour, and basically what that does is it kills the microbes and all that may grow and invade your layout.
Gotcha. Yeah, and don't want any roly-polies or worms in there. I would imagine probably kills those too. So
yep.
You realize, Chris, if any wives are watching right now, how many emails you're going to get?
Well, I probably, but 6% of model railroaders are women. So at least as far as I can tell, it looks like 6% of them.
Just get your
a
own.
lot of them
baking
actually like
sheet,
to do
that's all.
scenery, so they probably know this already.
Imagine the aroma.
Yeah.
That was a new spray.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Buy your wife some new baking sheets and have her give you the old ones. That's all.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to the next shot here. But these all, and even photographing it outside, I think even adds a depth of realism that photographing inside doesn't add.
yeah, and it helps with you get a lot of nice shadows.
Yeah.
To add to the realism as well. So this the front general store, that's just a basic clapboard, and then the top piece was also 3D printed, and I thought it was cool. It had those little owls on it, and then the red barn behind that's all board on board, and the engine house that's to the left there, that was just laser cut studs, which was really neat to put together.
Cool.
Nice job.
Thanks.
That to me is why model railroading art is an art form.
Yeah.
That's beautiful work.
I have one question for you. That tree in the background, was that done from a piece of sagebrush?
Yeah, it's
right there.
Yeah, it's a piece of, I think Scenic Express used to sell them, but I've never seen them available. So I went on eBay, and you can get, I think it's just a guy that lives out in Colorado, and you get a big box.
Yeah.
And some of them are better suited for trees than others.
Yep.
And then I took the little pieces of super tree, and you spray them with hairspray, dip them in the ground foam, and super glue them on one piece at a time.
Great job.
It took a lot less time than I thought it would. It sounded labor intensive, but it wasn't.
I thought that was a real tree.
Yeah.
Cool. These guys.
We'll forgive you this time.
Yeah. And that little vine on the side there, that was made the same way. Just obviously no sagebrush, just the super trees with the ground foam.
Where did you get the figures from? Are they mini prints?
They were from a company called Model U, and it was an add-on for this kit, but they do sell it online as the Millworkers pack. I think it was 17 figures all told, and then they have they have all different eras and all different, there's slate workers, they have factory workers, fish people that work at like a fish market, and they just come 3D printed in gray, and they do every scale. I mean, I think N scale and above. And they're just some really crisp. They actually will scan a real person that's holding a cigar or holding a bag, and then they use those to make the print. So it's real people.
Very good.
All right, and there's your overview. This is just a fantastic piece of work here.
Thanks.
Any more questions for Travis? All right. So thanks.
Yeah,
Thank you.
how long did it take you to put this all together?
Maybe 4 months start to finish. So
wow.
Impressive.
Thanks.
Yep. All righty. Any more questions? Well, thank you, Travis. This is fantastic work, and hopefully we can see more of you.
We
Appreciate
have a
that. You will.
question for Travis from YouTube.
Oh, okay.
They have asked, what color did you use for the green roof?
So that was the standing seam roofing. It was metal, and then it was primed like a medium brown, and then it was a Tamiya. I think it might have been aircraft green, and then just weathered really heavily with oils and mineral spirits.
Beautiful job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Travis, could you send me an email if you don't mind? Pat, can you put my email address in the chat for him so that he's got it?
Sure.
Thanks, Travis. I appreciate it.
Of course. Happy to.
What he's saying is you're going to do a clinic.
Maybe more than one.
Fair enough.
No, that's just magnificent work. I mean, that's man, a 2 foot by 1 foot diorama like that. That's something.
Thanks, Jim. Means a lot coming from you.
All righty.
That is something. Don't you think,
Okay.
Clark? I mean, what do you? I mean, that's something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very well done. Yep.
Yeah, outstanding.
But and this isn't against the work, but this is the type of kits that are out available to you now that with effort, you just can't slap them together, but with excellent effort, you can build these fantastic models now. I mean, we're not in the age of a DPM kit anymore. And that is really one of the big boons, and has been, I would say, in the last, 3D printing now has been that in the last 2 years, but laser cut structures and what they're doing with it and the materials that they've come out for laser cutting has just made the whole hobby that much better.
I agree.
Now you have to have skill to do this, but I mean, the structure itself, the assembly of the structures is pretty straightforward. Most people can do it with a little bit of, start off small and you practice a little bit and then you can build them. But it's the finish work, it's the finishing, it's the painting, it's the eye for detail. That's where the big difference is.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well done.
It really is.
Thanks.
And
You're right. Like I said, I started during the lockdown, so a couple of years ago, and it was really just a matter of I watched every YouTube video I can, saw that Nutrax modeling was around, and then you just in practice, just practicing and seeing what different things do to different materials. It's all there is to it.
And that's an excellent point. People are always afraid to try something. Well, you don't go out and buy a $200 kit and try it on that. You go out and buy a piece of styrene, you go and buy a piece of laser board or whatever, and you practice. It's just like anything else in life. You have to practice it. And people say, oh, how did you do this? Well, You know, like they say, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice.
Yeah, let me add on my cooling tower. That's exactly what I did. Since it's laser cut, there's lots of excess material, and to experiment on the finishing before I attack the model kit pieces, if I was uncertain how it was going to come out, I used the excess material from the laser cutting and tried the staining and painting on there until I was happy with the outcome and knew that I was not going to mess up the parts of an expensive kit.
Exactly. And I think that's something we have to share with people.
Clark, I agree. I've got 3 emails from different modelers that came in last week saying that what they would like to see on the show is very, very detailed painting, weathering, how to paint it, how to weather it. And, different people have different ways of doing it. I mean, it's not one, there's not just one way that works for everybody, maybe, but I would love to be able to get more modelers that really understand the painting and weathering aspects of the hobby to come on the show and take a segment or so and really show us how they paint, how they weather, because there is an art to it.
Oh, and it doesn't come overnight.
No, and it's not, everybody doesn't do it the same way.
No, everybody likes, it's like anything. I mean, we were talking about water earlier. And you gotta look at different, I'm sorry, I don't want to take up time if we can talk about this in the open talk.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
But again, if you're out there and you have some skills in weathering and painting, please get in touch with me, because I really am serious. I'd like to be able to have these kind of segments on the show, because I think they are really important. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think he wanted to hold off on his comments till the after show.
Yeah, we'll do it in the after show, and we can discuss how we can maybe progress with that idea.
Yeah. We've got a lot of people on YouTube. That's the only reason why I was bringing it up when I did, because they won't be available for the after show. And this really is, whether you're on YouTube tonight or Zoom, makes no difference, because you can come on Zoom just maybe for the segments that you would do on weathering or painting. And we don't want you to feel that you're being left out of this, because wherever you're watching this, please consider contacting me. It's Jim Kello at newtracksmodeling.com.
And and the YouTubers, if you put out your ideas, we will, I say we, Jim will attack people to get your clinics on the air.
Oh, absolutely. And seriously, I don't watch the chat function on YouTube. We've got Pat Brevard tonight is the one that's watching it. But if you've got any comments, if you have somebody, maybe it's not you, but somebody that you've seen do something that you think would be good for it, let us know. That's why we're here. We're trying to help each other.
It's interactive.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All righty. Well, that's exactly part of what this is all about, is sparking discussion. So mission accomplished for tonight on that one. So thanks, Travis. And we'll move on to James Taverna now. You up, James?
Yes, I am.
All right, you ready? Looks like you got 8 slides.
Okay. So my presentation exactly plays into what you were just talking about. It's essentially redoing paint. And I had bought a factory painted set of Key AB F7s, and the lettering was totally wrong. The letters are out of scale, and the striping is too wide, and it really it sort of detracted from the appearance of the engines, and also in the brass market, it lowered their value. So what I decided to do with my heart and my mouth essentially was to see if I could sand off the lettering. And you can see here in the first photo, this is the lettering that came from Key, which is an out-of-date, incorrect Champ set. And this is the B unit. And so the B unit shows where I have already sanded off the lettering and so forth, and trying to avoid damaging the lettering above, or the paint job above the belt rail, above the batten strip that runs through the middle of the locomotive. And so these are, I got these sanding sticks from the store that women go to for their manicuring stuff and so forth. I think it's called Sally's. In fact, I believe I got an opening gift for setting up an account, so I wisely used that to get a purse for my wife. And so I made out very well when I returned home with that. No problems in going to Sally's thereafter. So anyway, so the first two shots here are essentially two views of the starting point of the A unit, and the B unit has already been sanded, and you can see the residue on the washable sanding sticks. Those two sticks are of different grits, and I was staying in about a 600 grit type of arena, 420 to 600. And I also, if you look on the pink stick, you can see I've cut off the end of it to get into certain areas, like to get these little unit numbers in the back without disturbing the handrails and so forth, as I tried to get them off. So we can go to the next slide. All right, so now we've really attacked the A unit. And so the sanding is completed, and you can see I had some residue at this time here of the underlayment of the decal, and I continued sanding, and eventually over here I had gotten all of the decal off without too much damage to the paint. The paint actually must have been scale coat Brunswick green, because it was a dead-on match, which was fortunate for me. And then over here you can see I got the stripe off that came down over the nose. I got the bullets off behind the number boards because they were way oversized and incorrect. And the next thing that came off was the keystone on the front. So we've now got the locomotive essentially in a base condition to start working back, to start painting it, and then using the new decals and rub-ons that I had obtained. This here is a jeweler's tool, and that's a diamond-tipped wheel with little fingers that's made by 3M, and that's also an excellent tool for doing fine grinding. In fact, that little rubber wheel, if you have a bulbous solder joint, you can use that and it'll take the tin off of the joint and leave you with a nice brass joint where you won't notice any excess solder at all. So that's been a very handy one to have around. Okay, next one. So now I've masked off the areas that I have the original paint that I didn't want to paint over, and I've left open the areas below the belt line where we're going to paint. So now this is the B unit, and you can see the new paint over where I had sanded off the lettering matches pretty well into the upper area, and the grills are all fine. Everything is fine. So we're making pretty good progress in the direction that we want to go. Next. Another view. So this is give you a shot. You can see there's a little bit of shadow on the side of the unit. This has got dull coat on it, of course, because it's the factory finish, and this is just gloss because I have to letter it. But you'll see when I finished, once I dull coated the entire unit, everything blended together. So here I'm now starting to put on a scale 2-inch wide stripe on the side of the B unit, as opposed to that very thick stripe that came with the original factory paint job. Next. All right, so now this is the A unit completely re-lettered. So now it's got the correct flare. It's got the narrow stripe. This is a rub-on from Clover House, which is Clover House is a beautiful Pensy engine set in O scale in the Dulux. Unfortunately, they're out of print right now because he can't get anybody to make him a new set of Dulux. It's hard to find printers. And there's this. I take a mix here. So the new lettering on the back is a correctly sized Dulux Champ, and then this is a new decal on the builder's plate and so forth. The F has been a redo, and so I've got this down. There's a new herald going to be. You can see it's not there yet, but going on the front, and then the heralds now here are correctly sized. I've added like fuel and water. And in the back of the units, there was some very fine lettering that I had gotten sets made. And so there's the 600 volts and all other kind of lettering on the unit. Next. So here's the A and B unit, both completed and back on their chassis. And so you can see they're a much nicer and more prototypical looking unit, and completely lettered. Did the outline of the fuel fills and all of that stuff as I put it back together, and got my weathered coupler and my engine house lettering on the front and so forth. And I'm looking for a red F. Is there another letter, another slide?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, okay, we got the action shot. So these are the engines. I went a little further. The B unit has its builder's plate in a different place. There's a truss plate on the B unit as well. And so now the engine set really looks a lot better on the railroad than that toy train looking AB set that I started with. And you can see also putting on the dull coat has blended the upper and lower sections such that you really can't see that they're one is the original scale coat, and the bottom half of the unit is my spray paint job of the new scale coat for my lettering base.
Fantastic. I think that's it. Let me see. Nope, there it is.
There they are coming around on the main line underneath the Shamokin branch as it goes off to heading down to head into Harrisburg.
All right. That was a fantastic job on that re-letter and all that. Are there any questions for Jim?
Jim, I got a question for you. I think Clover does a great job with the lettering and everything. I've never personally been successful with using that kind of lettering on anything. How would you like to come back and do a segment and show us how you did that? How you take those kind of rub-on letters and actually get them to go on and make them straight and not tear and so forth, because every time I tried to use anything like that, I have made a big mess with it.
Well, I'd be more than willing, Jim, but I have to be honest and say that I've been using rub-ons a long time, and in many cases, I prefer them to decals. Decals are good when you've got irregular surfaces and things like that, but flat surfaces like the sides of locomotives or boxcars and things of that nature are not a problem. And for me, I'm getting rather casual about it, so I don't take all the steps I should take because I've been doing it so long. So I'll have to go back and make sure I use more hinges.
Yeah, that would be great. If you can just send me an email, then we can arrange a time and so forth. It's good for you and have you come back and do it, because that is just gorgeous work.
Well, it just so happens I have another set of these diesels. They're actually, you can buy them pretty inexpensively because of that crappy lettering. So I bought another set and
Yeah.
I'll be doing this again.
Oh, okay, that's great. That would be fantastic. Well, if you'll just send me an email, Pat, if you could put my email in the chat so that he has it. Pat, did you happen to hear?
Yeah, I heard you. I just got to get it written in.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, so Jim, thank you.
My pleasure.
I have a question.
Sure.
You mentioned you used a scale coat 2.
No, this is brass. I use scale coat 1 on both brass and plastic. I also use scale coat 2, but I get a better gloss out of scale coat 1, and so that's what this is.
Okay, now can you still purchase that from someone? I find it hard to find right now.
Well, there was a fellow who took over the line in Massachusetts, but I understand he just shut down. But if you came down into my spray booth, I have probably about a 25-year supply of scale coat colors.
Wow, thank you.
I will tell you, some of that scale coat I bought back in 1992.
Wow. Oh man.
Yeah, was that Minuteman that bought scale coat?
That's correct. Yeah, and I'm really disappointed he went out because he had brought all the colors back, and now he's out of business.
Yeah, I thought he was going gangbusters, but then, and in fact, we used to see him at Timonium quite a bit.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Greg, do you remember? Was he there at the last Timonium show?
No, I haven't seen him for over a year.
Okay.
Yeah. Jim, I just got to say, this is beautiful work. Can I ask a question? How long did it take you start to finish?
This project start to finish was probably about, I'd say a couple of months, because I'm also modifying and painting other things as well as building a layout.
That little layout.
Yeah. I have assistants though in that little layout though too. Thank you, Greg. Yeah, I have a blog that I don't know how I could get it out to you guys, but if you look at my blog, I've been keeping it since I started working on the layout about 2007. But I also have a lot of these projects in the blog. That's how I was able to send Chris these photographs, because I did this project probably about, I'd say 8 years ago. And this became my favorite engine set because they ran so well and they look so nice.
Yeah. It sure made a difference, no question about it.
So is the blog under your name or is it under your railroad or?
It's under the railroad name.
Okay.
I'll send you the address if you'd like it.
Yeah, that'd be great. That way we can share it.
Do you know how to put it in the chat?
No, I don't have it in the chat. I could put it. I'd have to dig it up and put it in.
Yeah, even if it's just a name, we can find it.
When you come back, we can talk about the blog too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was the fellow who put up those pictures earlier, Jim, of the resin cars that I built that Chris included. There were about 4 or 5 cars.
Yep, I remember.
All righty. Any more questions for Jim? All right. Well, thank you very much, Jim. And we look forward to hopefully getting a clinic on the dry transfer decals. All right. DS Yates, are you up?
Don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, he sent these pictures in the other day. So these are N scale and they're scratch built.
Jeez.
He sent me these and I was just blown away by the fact that they're N scale and the fact that they were scratch built.
Yep.
I mean, if it was HO, okay, yeah, I get it, but it's N scale. It's like, wow, that's pretty spectacular for N scale.
Yes, sir.
So he did a fabulous job. I think, yeah, there's just 2 pictures that he sent in. So there's that one. And then it looks like what was that, an engine pit down there? But yeah, he doing fantastic work. If you're Mr. Yates, if you're watching us on YouTube, you're doing a fantastic job. Keep it up. Please send us more photos. These and please join us. This is some really great work here.
It really is outstanding. Thanks so much for sharing.
All right, looks like we've got the Jim Taverna's blog in the chat window if anybody's looking for it. All right. So we'll move on. All right, the next MyBuild is oops, it kind of skipped a slide here. It's basically it's a Halloween challenge. So get us your oh yeah, it did skip it. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I must have hidden the slide. No, there it is. There we go. Okay. The October challenge is Halloween. So
You must be sharing, Chris.
oh yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? Sorry about that. I was doing so well too.
I know.
Come on, there we go. Okay. The October challenge is Halloween. Haunted houses, abandoned buildings, abandoned railroad cars, scarecrows, derelict engines, fall scenes, pumpkins, trick-or-treaters, anything you can come up with that is a little bit spooky, a little bit haunted, anything along those lines. The show will be October 18th. To participate, email your photos to me, railrunner130@hotmail.com. And then the next regular free-for-all MyBuild will be November 22nd. And that's my sister's birthday, actually. Please try to get those photos to me by October 15th. And again, there's my email address, railrunner130@hotmail.com. Thanks to everybody that participated tonight. I think we ran long, but I think as we do, the long ones tend to be the ones that people really enjoy. So hopefully, thanks to everybody that participated. And if you haven't participated before, please send us what you're working on, something you found, something you have questions on. I was pretty happy to see that Ed was looking for direction on how to proceed with the pond, and he got some pretty decent input as to how to fix that or to address that issue. So that's exactly what this is about, and this is exactly what we want to keep doing. So we've had a couple new people and tonight, and that's great, and we just want to see that continue. So I'll turn it back over to you, Jim.
Well, Chris, thanks so much. I mean, obviously you're making this into something really special because of the people that you're getting to participate. And I can't thank you enough for doing it. Well, you've heard me say we do a caboose at the end of every show. And you've heard me ask the modeling community out there, if you have a short video that you can send us that we can use for the caboose, we really would appreciate it. So far, we only had one person send us in a video of their model railroad, and we used it, but nobody else has done anything like that. So if you have something, a video that you'd like everybody to see or you'd like to share, if you please send it to us, then we'll use it as one of the cabooses at the end of each show. Again, my email is jimkellow, JIMKELLOW @newtracksmodeling.com. And so now for our caboose. Thanks so much for everybody who attended tonight. We really do appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed the show. Most importantly, we hope you learned something. Thanks again so much for